49 అంటే సంతానం, 49 అంటే సంతోషం.
How do you look at money?
Arms and legs don't give you happiness. Many people with arms and legs and they're still crying. Many people with a lot of money and they're still crying. They get money, then they want more. They want more money, they get more money, they want more.
What was that crucial turning point of yours that turned you into this amazing human being?
Realizing, yeah, I had no arms and legs, but it was difficult when I thought it was a big deal. These things of thoughts, fears, and emotions stirred through me as a young kid. Really, even with the attempted suicide at age 10. I just want everyone to know that, yes, when life is hard, it doesn't mean that this is the end.
Of course, with manifestation, action towards it really needed.
Action more than belief, right? You can believe all you want, but with no action, you'll never get there, right?
Yes.
So when you understand that failure is your classroom, you get stronger and stronger and wiser along the way. So that's the kind of mindset that I want everyone to know in the resilient mind. But what I've also learned in marriage is do everything together.
Yes.
I really believe that that's a good foundation for a strong marriage, especially when you're an aggressive entrepreneur like myself.
Oh, you sound like an obedient husband.
You can ask my wife that. You're making me blush.
I'll be the one by your side through the good and the hard times.
Thank you. You're a great interviewer.
Oh, thank you so much.
When we're hurting, I'll be the one that you need.
Hi viewers, welcome to iDream and this is your host Aparna. So welcome to A to Z with Awesome Aparna. Awesomeness, no matter what life throws at you, you have to make it awesome. I'm not saying this quote because right now I'm sitting in front of the perfect example of this quote. He inspired millions and billions of people across the world and he is New York Times International best-selling author, none other than our beloved motivational speaker Nick Vujicic. So he's here, so let's talk to him and let's have some good perspective about life and let's get inspired. Hello Nick.
Hello, how are you?
I'm too good. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Thanks for having me on the show.
No, it's our pleasure actually. Welcome to India.
Oh, this is awesome. This is my 6th time to come to the beautiful country, but definitely my first time and not my last time in Hyderabad.
Last?
Not
but
my
not the last.
That's right. First but not the last.
Yes, but you have a lot to experience yet. Still, how far you're liking India?
Oh, I love India. Love the people, the hospitality, and the food's amazing. I know I haven't tried all of them yet and the dishes, but it's wonderful to be here. And tomorrow we're going to Guntur. So we're on a tour to inspire as many young people of India as possible in a very short time.
That's my hometown.
Beautiful. Awesome.
So good to have you here. You know what? After sitting and right now starting off, I truly believe inspired even without starting off the interview. That's the aura you're carrying around.
Thank you.
So, Nick, you give a lot of speeches. You inspire a lot of people. But how do you perceive life?
For me, it's definitely understanding that the first decision we must make is to have an attitude of gratitude, to be thankful for what you have instead of being angry for what you don't have. And then also in the understanding of life, sometimes you may not understand a lot of the unexpected seasons of life. I think the last several years, I think we've all gone through ups and downs and depression and anxiety and so many other emotions in us. And really, we are human beings with human feelings.
Yes.
And so when we go through struggles, it's for me making sure that my heart and my mind are connected, that I'm present, that I'm gonna do my best. But if I'm not feeling good today, I'll give myself a little bit of permission to maybe retract or internalize some things, but eventually you have to come back to life and engage in the world and see that whatever we see isn't a limit. It's just a process of becoming resilient as we face resistance.
Well, wonderfully said. But coming to the point where you started your life, it was not an easy path at all. Every step must have been very tough. So, what was that crucial turning point of yours that turned you into this amazing human being?
It was definitely a journey that started with my mom and dad planting seeds of love, saying, "You're beautiful, don't worry about what the future looks like, just do your best." In fact, in 1989, I was supposed to be segregated into a special needs school. But my mom went to the education ministry and actually opened up the integration for children like myself. And so I had a lot of opportunities to, progress. And I'm so glad to see the progression here with the government of India and the education system here and the awareness of people with special needs. And for me, it was realizing, I had no arms and legs, but it was difficult when I thought it was a big deal. And it wasn't a big deal from my perspective, but from everyone else's perspective, it seemed like a big deal, and that I wasn't normal, or maybe I wasn't good enough. And these things of thoughts, fears, and emotions stirred through me as a young kid, and definitely felt lesser of a person. Definitely felt that maybe I should be doubting my future. Maybe I'm never going to be happy. Maybe I'm never going to find true love and really find my place in this world. And so it was definitely a journey, a long journey. But really, even with the attempted suicide at age 10, it was a moment in my life where I just wanted to give up because I couldn't see any good. I just want everyone to know that, yes, when life is hard, it doesn't mean that this is the end. If you choose to stay, beautiful things can come from your broken pieces when you give your broken pieces a chance. And so I actually played soccer at age 13 and hurt my foot so bad that I was in bed for 3 weeks, and I realized I have a choice, either to be angry for what I don't have or be thankful for what I do have. And that's when the undergirding foundation of the attitude of gratitude really came in my heart and my mind at age 13. And so that was a stepping stone, getting out of depression, being thankful and focusing on those good things, talking to people with my feelings, and also realizing that there are other people in the world who have it worse. And how can I actually make the world a better place? It's amazing what happens in the mind when you actually help someone else in need. It really is amazing.
Yes, absolutely. So, do you believe in the power of manifestation? Because I see you as a practical example. So, how far do you believe?
Yeah, look, we all have different philosophies and belief systems, but when it's a belief, if it's true, then it must work for every single person. And so I think of the people who are human trafficked, who've been sold by their own mother at 4 years old. You can't tell them, just manifest your new future. Be good, do good, and good's going to happen. I think bad happens to us all.
Yes.
Now, I'll tell you this, that if you don't muster up any motivation or inspiration, then where you are in our circumstance and not believing beyond what you see and feel actually will limit you. And I've actually seen now rescued human trafficked teenagers who actually find an escape, and they find a job, and they save up money to go and rescue another human trafficked victim. And so what's amazing is when you don't get a miracle, you can still be a miracle for somebody else. And I think in the mindset of progressing and moving onward, and yes, whatever you sow is what you reap. I believe in that, right? But it doesn't change all the destiny and the full potential of your life as a formula, if you will, for me.
Of course, with manifestation, action towards it really needed.
Action more than belief, right? You can believe all you want, but with no action, you'll never get there, right?
Yes, true. But as human beings, when we are in new circumstances, or even we think of new phase of anything, to do anything new in the life or to go to any place, the first thing which we feel is fear. Oh my God, what's going to happen?
Yes.
What if something goes wrong? So, how do you see fear?
For me, I love the acronym. I don't know if you've ever heard of this one before, but there's, first of all, two categories of fear. There's a rational fear or irrational fear.
Yeah.
Rational fear is when my parents saw me and they looked at me, no arms, no legs, and they had fear, like, is he gonna walk? Maybe he's not gonna go to school. What if this, is he ever gonna get married? What is he gonna do? How independent is he gonna be? That fear is rational. It is good to ask those questions. For me, when I was a kid, I had a lot of irrational fear, where I would take on my life and through my filter in my mind, based on what I see, based on what I know, based on what I feel, I conclude my future by saying, I will never be married. I will never be happy. I will never find a job. And so sometimes we actually condemn our own future based on what we see. We then just limit ourselves in our future. And so FEAR, false evidence appearing real. There's so many times that we go through life that we really are afraid of something. And I'm not belittling anyone's fear, and I'm not belittling anyone's pain. But what we must understand is do not be crippled with fear to hold you back from trying, from failing. Today's message in front of the youth there at MRU is so great, Malareddy University, is incredible that they understand that failure is not a status or a conclusion or a label. Failure is your classroom. And so you don't know what you can achieve until you try it. And many of us know that we're not perfect.
Right.
So when you understand that failure is your classroom, you get stronger and stronger and wiser along the way. And so that's the kind of mindset that I want everyone to know in the resilient mind that we can do.
Well, may I ask you this? What was your failure process that you always have a memory of, and that taught you a lot about life?
Whoa. I would have to say, I think in business and entrepreneurship, there were many times where I would have a gut feeling about somebody or something, and I didn't listen to it. And I relearned that lesson again and again. And I think in business, our emotions get in the way of things.
Yes.
And I love people, and I care for people, but sometimes because of that over love and care, I don't make the right decisions that I should be making at times. And so, now does that mean I don't care for people? No, I always will care. But knowing me, I'm now more wise. I get more counsel. I double check with someone. What do you think about this? I get more of that wisdom counsel around me. And so there are some things in my control that I failed. There are some things out of my control that I failed in. But, especially in the entrepreneurial world, you get used to failing.
Yes.
You understand that money comes, money goes, money comes back, money goes again, money comes back. It's the tides of the ocean. But you must seize the moment and trust your gut. And obviously, as an entrepreneur, I did a lot of things before I was married, but now being married to my wife, I want my wife's, if you will, blessing or approval on something if I want to do new, She may not always understand it. She might be a little bit more scared than I. But what I've also learned in marriage is do everything together.
Yes.
I really believe that that's a good foundation for a strong marriage, especially when you're an aggressive entrepreneur like myself.
Oh, you sound like an obedient husband.
You can ask my wife that. You're making me blush, but we do what we can when I'm even busy to make sure that we even give our friendship a chance. Outside of 4 children, and even now going through the process of starting paperwork to even adopt a child in America, and starting the paperwork. Life never slows down. Many people say, oh, when it slows down, it doesn't slow down. It only gets faster. And so the priority and time management of such is, if my family and my marriage is priority number 1, then I make sure that reflects on my calendar, and I still take my wife out on a date every single week that I can. And so, was it so crazy busy the last 6 months? Yeah, it's been crazy. Did I get the weekly date? No, I didn't get that. Did we have times of escaping? Yeah, we did. It was beautiful. But as quickly as you can, with the seasons and ebb and flows of the world, do what you can to fight for your marriage, fight for your wife's adoration, fight for that time with her.
Oh, I think you should train people how to be right husband also.
Thank you. Thank you.
So coming to the gut feeling, yes, as an entrepreneur, yes, it is definitely different. But when it comes to love, romance, relationships, our gut says something, but we always try to entertain what's in front of us. So how do you see these current generation relationships? Because they're on, next minute they're off.
Yeah, well, it depends how old you are and, what kind of family you were raised in. And I've seen some great arranged marriages be very successful. And so I'm not here to judge, but I'll say it this way. You must be aware of what you're feeling and making sure that what you're feeling is reciprocated. And they don't love you for who you're going to be or how you're going to change or what you can give them. They love you for you.
Yes.
And I think a ground of friendship is something very important to know. What do they think of themselves and what do they think of you? But understanding the philosophies of what is identity, what is purpose, why are we here, what's your dream of dreams, getting to know each other. And so, sure, many times people ask me, was it love at first sight with my wife? And it actually was. It was for her and it was for me. But that doesn't mean we're getting married now next week.
Yeah.
But we got to know each other, and 12 months of friendship. And then I popped the question. She said yes, and 6 months later we got engaged. And so, love is complicated.
Yes.
Not one story can help another so much, because every story is unique.
Correct. So complicated.
It is.
So coming to this, you have seen a lot of younger to older kind of generations, and you have seen closely how the people think. Different people from different perspectives, they have different ideas about life. But yet everybody is like, one, fear is common, and second, emotions. Because we tend to get to take decisions even in the fear or in the emotion of love. So what exactly the points we should consider when we are taking major decisions in life?
Definitely get some wise counsel around you.
Everybody can't afford you kind of a counselor,
like
right?
a coach. What I'm saying is find someone that, it depends what decision you have to make, right?
Yeah.
In that field, right? Because sometimes you can't afford not to make the right decision.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And so, for me, if it comes from a point of depression, for instance, I always encourage people to write out 10 things that they're thankful for, the 10 things that are going well. The second thing is talk to a psychologist. I actually have been talking to my psychologist in 2021.
Okay.
To actually say, hey, this is what I'm going through, this is what I'm feeling. And it's amazing because that process, when you become transparent with another human being who's not going to judge you for what's been happening, who can even empathize or sympathize with you with the difficulty that you got going, to emotionally heal. Sometimes you have to tell someone what you're actually going through. Sometimes your emotions are coming out
Yes.
but not even because of the present situation. What I realized, even when the restrictions of COVID were coming out and my business went to zero, it was interesting that my emotions and my psychology and my mental health state had nothing to do with my business going to zero. I've been there before, but what was interesting was it unearthed some emotions of the last 20 years of my life.
Okay.
And things that, I never really told people, or they knew, but I never really talked to someone about, let's say, approximately 9 people who made me feel betrayed over the last 20 years. And so we're complicated human beings in that we don't even know what emotions we're feeling sometimes, or what is it that's stirring this up. And so that whole process of healing, saying what happened, then they asked me, how did that make you feel? And I shared how that was for me. And they said, do you want to share anything else? And I said, no. And what was beautiful was, after hours about one topic, I realized for the first time, I actually don't have a wound anymore. I have a battle scar. And so I think some of our past sometimes scar us. Right. What our parents have said to us in the past, a previous rejection in the past, or a betrayal, whatever that is. I really encourage people to talk to another human being who's trained in that for your psychological mental health, and to never give up. Some of us watching right now are thinking of maybe giving up, and I want everyone to know to never ever give up. You don't have to go through this life alone, and you're loved, you're valued, there's not another you, and so please don't give up. And if a man without arms and legs can become somebody that now embraces the world with no limbs, I feel that we all can embrace and discover our greater purpose and love in life.
This is exactly true, but all human beings, as you said, are complicated and go through a lot of hidden scars, which they don't even, in fact, themselves doesn't know what is the suffering that they're going through. But having said that, there are a lot of traumas, and we grow up with that kind of things. So what do you see? Because we all get betrayed at some point of life, we all get heartbroken, we all get our trust broken. So you said one thing like, do good, be good, everything will go good. No, that doesn't happen that way. So once you're betrayed, or your trust is broken, or your heart is broken, how should you see? Because it takes hell of a time to come out of it, and it affects every aspect of our damn life.
I really encourage people to even journal. Just journal what you're feeling, and write down, what did you learn about you?
Right.
What did you learn more about you than anything?
Yes.
And learning it in a way to allow yourself, if you could do anything differently, what it would be. And also to take from what has happened in the past and be aware of that for yourself. But also, when you don't get a miracle, you can also be a miracle for someone else. And I think we all go through brokenness, and we all go through rejection. And if we all can go through whatever that disability is for you, but never give up and get on the other side of it, what if you actually went through what you've been through just to help one other person? And so for me, meeting now, 35 people with no arms and no legs around the world, and seeing my mum and my dad encourage parents of other children with no limbs, it's not the end of it. You learn, you pick up, you keep going. And when you don't feel like that you have anything to be thankful for, I had to do something interesting in my mind. I had to actually think of the worst 3 days of my life in the last 5 years, and think about how it could have been worse.
The most worst could have happened, and we are blessed that didn't happen.
For me, it was 2016. I nearly died in a hospital in California because of negligence of the surgery that I had.
Oh my God.
In 2017, I buried my father of cancer.
So sorry about that.
Thank you. In 2020, We went through a lot. And not everyone likes me. And so, we found a grenade on my property. And so, with a pin and everything. And so, when you look at these 3 worst days of my life in the last 5 years, what could have been worse?
It's horrifying.
Horrifying. But when you look at it though, look at it from this angle. Yeah, I nearly died. What's worse than What's worse than nearly dying? Dying.
Right.
I buried my father. What's worse than burying my father? That I never had a relationship with him. I had a great relationship with him in the last 7 years of his life. And a grenade with a pin. What's worse than finding a grenade that your kid would pull the pin? And so what we must understand is you go through life and you become stronger, you become wiser. And that's why we shouldn't be thinking that we always want to be comfortable. No one wants problems in our life.
True.
But if we actually face the music, and the reality is you're going to go through struggles, how beautiful it is when you realize that the greatest mindset is to become someone who becomes resilient. Unfortunately, the greatest way to become resilient is overcoming challenges of resistance. And so embracing resistance from a different mindset, that one day, I don't know how, I don't know when, but I'm going to get through this because Nick said I'm going to get through it, and I'm going to be stronger on the other side as well.
Oh my God, amazing. I can go through all the night with this conversation.
Thank you. You're a great interviewer.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
So sweet of you to say that. So, see, everything is perfectly all right. Empathizing, kindness, having someone to love and to get loved, everything. But Nick, have you seen this generation somehow, after the digital awareness and with all the social networking sites and all, the bullying has become more common, and as if trying to pulling other one down as a joke, but that affects the other person in a very different way. So what do you think about this bullying, and whoever is going through this kind of bullying in their life, how they should look themselves and how they should handle themselves?
Yeah, look, first of all, let someone know that someone's bullying you. I don't think people understand how many people have actually even attempted suicide.
Correct.
Just because of someone bullying them at school. And no one knows the brokenness in our home either. And so when I've done 300 schools in America, I did an anonymous survey. And I had everyone bow their heads, close their eyes, put their hand in the air, and I said, put your hand in a fist. With no one watching, I said, put your hand in a fist if you've actually thought of committing suicide. 6 to 12% of American students have thought of committing suicide. Put your hand in a fist if you actually attempted suicide. 3 to 6% have attempted suicide in America. Put your hand in a fist if you actually attempted suicide because of a brokenness at home. 40% of the reason. And then put your hand in a fist if you actually attempted suicide because of bullying in your school, 40%. So what we must understand is that that's when I come and present this at schools. In America, we have Bully Awareness Month. So every October, we talk about this issue because yes, indeed, social media, cyberbullying, and just culture itself, in even sensationalizing bullying in media in some aspects, where it's become acceptable.
Right.
Some of us even have many first cousins who just play around and joke and they put you down.
Correct.
But what people don't understand is actually it does affect the heart. And so that's first of all to the people who must understand that if I were you, I would never involve myself in gossiping. I would never bully anyone just because you don't know really what they're going through that day. I want to be a reason why someone decides to stay, not why someone decides to leave this earth. And so people must understand that. When you go through something like this and you're the victim, I want you to know that you're beautiful just the way that you are. And you don't need to look like anybody else. And that rejection, I want you to know I felt that too.
Yes.
And I want everyone to know that it's okay to go through this right now, but don't let that define you. You know, many people judge me for how I looked, and they were not my friend. Well, the conclusion is, they missed out on a good friendship. And so when people judge you or put you down, definitely tell someone, write down maybe 5 things that you do like about yourself, or at least 3 things that you do like about yourself. Unfortunately, the mind is such that we compare ourselves even subconsciously to the people in the world. And we always feel like we have to compete.
Because that's how the society taught us from the...
Right, but where did it come from? And so what we must understand is what do we allow ourselves to watch? What do we allow ourselves to hear? What do we allow ourselves to think on? And so I want people to know that forget about how you look, forget about what job you get, forget about how much money you're ever going to make, forget about all that. You know, be you, be the best you that you can be, and let's together make the world a better place. And also understand that sometimes it's helpful to even confront the bully and say, listen, you don't know what I'm going through right now. Can you please stop that? And sometimes that works as well. So there's a couple pointers there that I hope someone gets.
Yes, definitely. And money. Most of those younger people think happiness comes from money. So how do you look at money?
Look, money is more of a tool. If you're not understanding that you shouldn't be worshiping or idolizing money, if you will, of if I can just get 1 million or 10 million, there's nothing wrong with money, but putting your security in money, meaning if I can just have that much money, then I'll be happy. Then I can have this, then I can have that. Same thing with arms and legs. Arms and legs don't give you happiness. Many people with arms and legs and they're still crying. Many people with a lot of money and they're still crying. They get money, then they want more. They want more money, they get more money, they want more. And so it's interesting that when you look at the choices in life and the security and what you think you define yourself as successful in, please understand that whether you have money or not, I love you. Whether you have money or not, you're valuable. Whether you have money or not, you can still help another person in India, you know, find their better path in life as well. And so there's nothing wrong with money, but I certainly don't put security in it. And that's not where my hope is, because I know money doesn't satisfy, just like a drug. Drugs don't satisfy. Addictions, you have an addiction to pornography, you have addictions to whatever, you keep on going back because it never satisfies you. And in fact, it's very dangerous when you go to money, drugs, sex, or fame, thinking, oh, I need to be famous. You become famous, and it's not what you actually think it is. And so people must understand that all these things, whatever they are looking at to be happy, very dangerous to put your true north on the things you can ascertain more than who you are. And I'll leave you with this. When we buried my father, we didn't talk about his success. We didn't talk about what he did or what he didn't do. We talked about who he was. And
yes, exactly.
And how he made other people feel. And I think that is where the treasure lies. And that's where my true north is.
Absolutely true. People will forget everything, the gifts, everything, but they cannot forget how they make you feel.
Yes.
True.
Yes.
So, oh my God, there's a lot of introspection going on. So, let's get to some fun part, and you have to be true to the answers, okay? So, Nick, what is the one thing still that you don't like even this much in you? What is that naughty part that you still like, oh God, I have to be a little bit of discipline in this category, in this area?
You know, for me, right now, the season of my life, it's very, very busy with speaking, now coming back, right? For 2 years, it was 0. And then I had to work very hard last year. And I'm glad I did, because the fruit of last year is now showing. But I'm not spending as much time as I was with my children. And I realized that each of my 4 kids have a different love language, and they want to spend time with daddy in even a different way. And so you discipline them different, you love on them different, and you be with them differently. And I miss my kids. I do miss my kids. It was around 6 months straight where daddy he wasn't spending as much time with them. And so this year, 2023, is something I want to perfect on. I think I'm such a big risk taker. I'm a huge risk taker. I'm not afraid of taking risks. It's the only reason how I got here as well in business and the career that I have. But I think I run too quickly. My brain goes to steps way ahead. And I just like, hey, let's do this and let's do this and let's do this. I think one of the weaknesses I have is doing too many things at the same time. All in good intention. And I've seen social media, and I'm not happy with all the social media platforms out there. And so my brain's like, okay, how do we rethink and reimagine what even social media even looks like? And so that's what's been occupying my brain, because I also have a company called Multitude, Multitood.
Okay.
And it's a video translation software. So when I want to reach 8 billion people, I own the domain 8billionpeople.com.org, because I really want to reach the world. Of the 14 million social media fans that I have, 65% of them don't speak English. And so how do we translate this in a very good way that can actually inspire the whole world? And so I'm now moving more into software tech and SaaS and helping the world, you know, with more videos without me traveling. But it's been an incredible journey. So I just sometimes push the envelope too much, too fast, too big.
Yes, but that's the key to success.
It is. As long as you're not wrong 3 times in a row.
That's the point.
Right? Because then you're in trouble.
Exactly, true. So, do you ever have a little fights? When do you have fights with your wife in your relationship? Who is the first one to say sorry?
Well, I'm normally the one that is in fault. So I'm the one that says sorry. And so that was an easy question. And sometimes, so I'm European. I know I'm born in Australia, but I'm European. My parents were from Serbia. And we're known to be sometimes hot-tempered. And I just refuse to talk to my wife when I am emotional most of the time. Because it's nothing but bad, you know. And it's not that I'm angry at her, it's just something that, you know, and I'm venting and I'm emotional. And so I actually text my wife. I actually cool down and I let my brain cool off, and then I just text her everything that I would have said. But text is so much easier,
Right.
because you don't hear the emotions as much as me telling her.
The reactions won't be.
It won't. There's less repercussion.
Correct.
And you talk through it, you know. Very, very rarely will we go to bed without talking about, if there's something that we need to talk about, we talk about it pretty much right there and then.
Okay.
We do. And it keeps our friendship and marriage healthy. Don't sleep stressed. Don't sleep angry. Don't hold a grudge, because then that war never ends.
Yeah.
Well, now that you did this to me, I'm never going to do this to you again, or I'm not going to give you this, and you're not giving me what I want, so I'm not going to give you what you want. And now all of a sudden, the biggest bully is your spouse, and you actually are a bigger bully than your spouse. You just don't know about it. So
it's so right. So
to make it right as much as you can.
So what is your love language? Texting?
No, it's not texting. My love language is intimacy and affection, and the physical touch, for sure. That to receive it, and also quality time, just quality time with me. I just want to be with you.
Okay.
Hers is quality time, but also service. She loves to be she loves to be served, or me being thoughtful to make sure that this happens and make sure this happens, and even if she doesn't ask, we make sure that happens.
Yes.
That's kind of her love language too. So.
Yeah, but we girls always want the man to be thoughtful and do what we are thinking here.
Yeah, he won't be able to read your mind most of the time. We're a little slow, us men.
True. So, what is the one thing that she loves the most in you?
She loves me for me, me being her best friend, but she mostly enjoys more than anything me just being at home with the kids and interacting with the kids, and being home. I mean, we love being a family, and quality time is something we really admire and love and cherish.
Wow, Nick, you're an amazing human being and very positive and very kind. So it is my honor to have this conversation, and it was so. I'm so happy actually to
Thank
meet
you.
you. I'm so
Thank you.
excited actually.
Nice
So
to meet you.
to wrap this conversation, I wanted to. I want you to give three simple thoughts that every human being should have on them every day when they wake up.
Number one, never give up. Number two, do your best. And number three, love everyone. Never ever hurt anyone. And that's a quote from my friend who has Down syndrome himself. He says, love everybody and never ever hurt anybody. And I think we can all learn from that quote. And lastly, I want to say that I do love India, and we actually have a website called Nick V Loves Media. Sorry, I'll take it again. Sorry. We actually, I also want to say that I love India so much, and we actually have a website called nickvlovesindia.com. And this is my 6th time here, and this is not my last time here. But there are ways that I want to bridge more hope, whether I can come in person or not in the future. And so I'm excited to share some announcements later. But if you go to nickvlovesindia.com, like that page, we've got the exclusive tour snaps and photos and videos of the crowds and my mini tour here in Hyderabad, and then going to Guntur as well. We're so excited to be here, and I want to say to India, thank you. And I also want to applaud the government. Thank you for allowing me to be an inspiration. Thank you for allowing me to come here. Thank you for allowing me to even be some part of a curriculum with the school to encourage all students to dream big and never give up. So thank you, India, for loving me, and thank you for your trust.
We all love you so much, and we wish you more and more and more success. Before wrapping up, one last question. I promise this is the last one. I know you are so tired. So tell us one beautiful experience in India that you can never ever forget.
For me, it was definitely going to one of the Feed the Children programs. I don't know where it was exactly, but it was in Mumbai. And, you know, my heart, since age 19, I always wanted to make a difference. And my parents actually were in refugee camps when they fled their own country, and due to some circumstances. And they always said, Nick, never forget the poor, never forget the poor, never forget the poor. And so there were some friends of mine in Mumbai, and we were in a community with the poor, and it was beautiful to be with those kids. So I generally do what I can in some countries to give back as well and spend some time with those who are less fortunate.
Sure, definitely. Yes, when you give your love to others, your love embraces.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks to you for this time in your busy schedule, and I'm saying, we all love you. Keep inspiring, keep motivating.
Thank you.
And yes, the motto of the life is never ever give up.
That's it. That's it. Take care. Thank you, India.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Beautiful.